Jai Sapadika Shri Guru Gaur Chandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Astaterasita Shri Shriman Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Mahārāj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Astaterasita Shri Shriman Śrīla Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Mahārāj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganal Bhaganatam Vitangstam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Śrī Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Śrī Vishakam Vidangscha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Haribo. Totally depending upon Shri Gurudev. Today is Śrī Lalitā Saptamī. And so, as Gurudev is saying, we are approaching all these things with so much reverence and carefulness. Not fearfulness, but carefulness and affection also. Whatever affection is there in us, it may be mixed with so many other things, but we are trying to at least offer whatever that is to the holy lotus feet of Sri Guru and Gauranga. And we have so many instructions on our journey to pure devotion. So many, especially Upadeshamrita and all the instructions of our Guru Varga with regard to surrender. And also many things that we will try to practice in our path, but at the same time, we know that we are approaching the infinite, completely independent Lord, and He can do whatever He likes. So we are hoping for grace always, and what form that will come in, we don't know, but we're going on in this hopeful way, and at the same time trying to do our duty in a sober mood. But today is a really special day, and I know that probably everyone has been looking at all the different really lovely articles that have been posted on the Maṭh website. I think mostly, almost all of Śrīla Gurudev speaking about Śrīmatī Lalitā Devī. And so I'll try to remember a few things, just for the happiness of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj and Mahaprabhu and Shri Giriraj. But we know from Upadesh Amrita Vaikuntaj Janito Vara Madhupuri Tatrapi Rasotsavat, and we Vrindaranya Mudara Pani Ramanat Tatrapi Govardhan Haradha Kunda Mihapi Gokulapate Premamrita Plavanat Kuryadasya Virajito Giritate Sevam Vivekinakaha. So there are so many planes of devotional service, and we're sort of at the starting gate, or hopefully we're at the starting gate, and we're always in a prayerful mood about our position, being that our position as being actual servants or actual practitioners of devotional life, that will be secured for us, that we will be protected on this path. And that is Goptritve Varanam and Avasya Rakibo Krishna. We're depending on Krishna for protection on the path of real devotion. Really quite desperately, but also very hopefully. And Srila Gurudev has given us great hope in many of these talks that we hear today, because of the nature of Śrīmatī Lalitā Devī. He said it is very merciful, like Nityananda Prabhu. She is completely completely absorbed in the slightest, tiniest detail of the service of Śrī Radha and Krishna. And every little detail, she's willing to die 1,000,000 times to remove the slightest flaw. Meaning, this is the famous example, that in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, maybe some divine perspiration will appear on the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. And Gurudev was saying, it takes one finger to remove. But her intensity is so great, and her service is so strong, that she is willing, she is in the mood of being willing to take thousands of births in order to remove that. So what kind of intensity of service is there in Śrīmatī Lalitā Devī? It's very difficult for us to conceive of that. But when we hear about that, we feel very uplifted and inspired. And we want to bow down always to that service and keep that as the absolute goal of our existence. And she is very merciful. She has that temperament, extremely extreme, in the service of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī and Krishna. Extreme, but at the same time, she's so soft-hearted and merciful. She wants to bring the newcomers into that service. So this is a very extraordinary thing. So it gives us great hope. But what kind of service will that be? We have to worship that from afar. That is a really extreme and wonderful thing. And Gurudev was saying, how much do we want that? So we're trying to pray and trying to have some Laulyam, trying to have some hankering for that really high and pure thing. So much. So Lalitā Devī is chastising both Radha and Krishna. She's giving them both many beautiful pastimes there about Lalitā Devi's chastisement. She's yes, sir.
Could you please share?
But she's saying I can't remember where we even read this actually, so I don't want to get it wrong. But we do remember that she's saying to Radha, why, I don't even want to quote it actually, because I can't remember. But for the noon program, I'll try to find these quotes about the particular times when Lalitā Devī is chastising them. And they're listening to her. So anyway, there's many things on the Maṭh website today and that we can review, every year we're super happy. But we're also remembering Lalita Devi is choosing the most beautiful servitors. And her really favorite is Srila Rupa Manjari, Sri Rupa Goswami. And so Srila Rupa Goswami writes that very beautiful song, Lalita Astakam, which we'll sing later today, in praise of Śrīmatī Lalitā Devī. And he's telling so many qualities about her. And but we are all followers of Rupa Goswami, and our goal, the goal of our heart, is to also enter into that service of Śrīmatī Lalitā Devī. That is what is the goal which has been afforded to us, that we should hanker for. Of course, we know that mercy can come from any quarter. That is a fact. But we are not expecting so much. We don't know what that mercy will look like, how it will come to us, or anything like that. But we are hankering for that type of mercy because it is so high and beautiful and very pure and very pleasing that someday, in such kind of grace will come to such a lowly person. So we are followers of Srila Rupa Goswami, and Narottam Das Thakur, of course, he is the disciple of Lokanath Das Goswami, but he is everything and all is Srila Rupa Goswami. So we are coming in that line, and we're all the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. But as Guru Maharaj was saying, how much do we want this? And this will be not some part-time thing, but it has to really involve our whole existence. And so we are hankering. We've got a hankering for that, just because that hankering has been given to us by our Guru Varga. And we're fully dependent upon their mercy to continue on in this line and try to remember this one thing that Srila Guru Maharaj is talking about that is so essential for us to understand. Tṛṇād Sunīchena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. He's constantly speaking about this, and Srila Guru Dev all the time. But in a summary, Srila Guru Maharaj is saying, peace hath her victories, not less renowned than war. And this expression has really been somehow by grace into this warmonger myself. This expression keeps coming in this morning. Peace hath her victories. So we are trying to enter into the chanting of the holy name of Krishna through the advice of Mahaprabhu. That we are the spirit of opposition is not going to be really helpful. Of course, we are going to oppose what is against the siddhanta of our gurus, but we are trying to do everything with as little invitation to reaction as possible. This is how Guru Maharaj is describing this. From our position, we are hearing about Śrīmatī Lalitā Devi's service, something about the service of Srila Rupa Goswami, and as praised by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and so on, all these Krishna Das Kaviraj, so many wonderful things. But looking upward. We are trying to practice what Guru Maharaj says, try to act in such a way as not to invite a reaction from the environment. And this is something so wonderful to remember, especially for me, because, I need to remember that very much. And although we are hearing such high things about the nature of such a personality as Lalita Devi, who is commanding the entire serving world. She is commanding everything. And Śrīla Gurudev says, Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, she is not so much extending, because she is so busy in the service of Mahaprabhu. But Lalita Devi, she's the one who's canvassing to give that chance to the newcomers. It is such a wonderful thing that we can hardly believe that we are hearing something like that. And Gurudev is talking about us. He's trying to give that hope to our lives. But in the meantime, we have many things that we have to work on ourselves, and go along in a very sober and gradual way. Hearing these things with a hopeful heart, trying to increase our divine Laulyam, and at the same time soften our hearts by Tṛṇād Sunīchena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena. Very, very challenging at times. But we have to keep remembering, let these words become one with our hearts. Let the words of the spiritual master become one with your heart, and do not desire anything else. So this is, we've got our position, and very happily trying to hear from Upadeshamrita and all these lovely books given by Rupa Goswami. Perfect instruction, the Shikshastakam, and all these things, and going on, and at the same time trying to understand what kind of mercy is descending in the form of Sri Swarup Damodar, who is Lalita Devi herself, and Ramananda Rai, and all these great parashad of Mahaprabhu. Both of these things together. We're trying to keep all of these things in mind. So today, we can read a little bit from from Divine Guidance, Chapter 4, and this is, of course, written by or spoken by and then transcribed into this book by Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj, who is super merciful. It's super merciful heart. Mercy has to be measured by its quality. It's not all on the same level. So Srila Gurudev is super merciful. So here he is writing, we can enter Vṛndāvan Dhām by the mercy of Radharani, but she is engaged with the service of Sri Krishna, and she has no time to see us. But by the mercy of her finest, closest, and topmost associate, Lalita Devi, we may gain a chance to enter. Lalita Devi is the leader of the group of Sakhis, the friends of Radharani. She is very merciful and can give us admission to Brajadham, Vṛndāvan Dhām. Actually, Radharani does not give entrance. Admission is granted by the Sakhis, the girlfriends of Radharani. Especially we are in the group of Lalita Devi. And in that group, Rupa Manjari is the head of the Manjari section. And Lalita Devi is our mistress. And we're hearing this from Gurudev, who is so mercifully telling us these things. We can hardly believe our ears, but that is their generous nature. Our prayer is that she will take us and engage us in service. We are very hopeful because Lalita Devi's mood is very open, something like that of Nityananda Prabhu. She is very affectionate with all, and she is the head of all the Sakhīs. The Asta Sakhīs, the 8 principal gopis, are Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Champakalata, Tungavidya, Indulekha, Sudevi, and Rangadevi. Lalita Devi is the leader of that group. She has a special group, and through them she arranges for maintaining the service to Radharani. She is the head mistress of our spiritual form. We are now in mundane body, so we will not think of that. Still, that is our goal of life. Therefore, we must worship that with our full regard. And we must not make any offense in the Dham. It is very difficult to stay in Vṛndāvan Dhām. We must have an exclusive service mood to Radha Krishna, and that can give us some place here. By the mercy of Lalita Devi, through our Srila Guru Mahārāj and Rupa Goswami, it is possible to get that. And if in that way we try to see everything, then no problem will come to us. We don't want to jump over the head of any, it's a very terrible expression even. We do not want to, we are serving in the low position. We are trying to find any service. A devotee will do any service for Guru and Gauranga, and he's not hankering for some kind of high connection. He's simply doing his duty, but with a hopeful heart that some divine mercy will come from Sri Gurudev and Gauranga. And as we can conceive of that, but it is very difficult to conceive of that. So we don't try to place ourselves in some kind of way within the realm of those kinds of pastimes. But at the same time, we are hoping that someday we will have some small contribution to make. In the meantime, we are practicing harmonious dealings. Sometimes our dealings are not that harmonious. And when we can notice that, then we can make our apology. But at the same time, we will hold fast to the teachings of our gurus in the form of Siddhanta. So all of these things have to be harmonized and balanced. We are so fortunate that we have reached, by the grace of Srila Guru Mahārāj, Vṛndāvan Dhām. This was spoken in Vṛndāvan. Actually, Vṛndāvan is the transcendental world, and we cannot reach that transcendental plane with our mundane body. But here we have some special facility by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, as well as Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. We are like bees who are trying to take honey from a tightly sealed honey pot. But they may give us some chance to attach with that transcendental world. The pot is solid and the bees cannot remove the seal and take the honey. That is an example only, but still, from it we can understand what our position is like. The bees are on the outside of the bottle, and our position is similar, but we are also near to the honey. So some miracle can happen. We can enter Vṛndāvan Dhām by the mercy of Radharani, but she is engaged with the service of Sri Krishna, and she has no time to see us. But by the mercy of her finest, closest, and topmost associate, Lalita Devi, we may gain a chance to enter. Lalita Devi is the leader of the group of Sakhīs, the friends of Radharani, and she is very merciful and can give us admission to Braja Dhām, Vṛndāvan Dhām. But here is one question. Do we want that or not? We hear about Vṛndāvan Dhām, but we hear through our mundane senses and with our mundane feelings. Some essence, however, is coming through that, and we express, we like Vṛndāvan Dhām. But we are hearing something about that, and we think, yes, this is very wonderful. This is a very great and beautiful thing. Definitely we want to worship that. But like Sri Harinam Maha Mantra, Vṛndāvan Dhām is also transcendental. If we want to enter there, we need some special mercy of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī through her associates, and we can only get that with our super hankering mood. Srila Rupa Goswami said, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriyatam Jadi Kutopi Labjate Tatra Laulyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukkuter Nalabhyate. I'm reading this without my glasses.
You need your glasses?
I've got them, but I forgot I wasn't wearing them because this is all lit up. Janma Koti Sukkuter Nalabhyate. We can do many auspicious services to the Lord, but that is not the cause of real hankering necessary for service to Vṛndāvan Dhām. We need to have the association of the associates of Braja Dhām, hear the Leela of Krishna, and engage in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, etc. With that kind of activity in our devotional path, inspiration can come to us. And by the causeless mercy of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, that kind of devotional hankering can enter our heart. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. It is very rare in this mundane world, but that is our super goal of life. We need it. We cannot touch that ecstatic Leela through our mundane body, but we may understand it a little through our preceptorial master's line, the Guru Parampara. So we're getting it is a miracle. I keep finding this idea of divine sound so miraculous. How can it pierce through and give us some kind of impression? That is all mercy. That we have some kind of impression that this is a very wonderful goal of our lives. And we want to follow that path very, very carefully. But that has come, that is inconceivable mercy. How this sound coming from the holy lotus lips of our Guru Varga, how that can pierce through this mundane covering over us, mind and body, subtle body and gross body. It just keeps surprising me time and time again. And we're bowing down hard, like bowing down softly, but strongly and desperately. That whatever it is in my heart that is keeping me from participation in I don't want to say lila, because we don't think so much about lila, but participation in the desire and service of Mahaprabhu. Whatever it is in me, let me be rid of it. And in my case, I don't expect that to happen like overnight. That is possible. Anything can happen. Krishna is not restricted. The Lord is not restricted in any way. But still, that we are hankering for that, for sure. With that kind of activity in our devotional path, engaged in, we need to have the association of the associates of Vrajadham, which means our Guru Varga. Hear the Leela of Krishna and engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, etc. With that kind of activity in our devotional path, inspiration can come to us. And by the causeless mercy of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, that kind of devotional hankering can enter into our heart. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. It is very rare in this material world, this mundane world. But that is our super goal of life. We need it. We cannot touch that ecstatic Leela through our mundane body, but we may understand it a little through our preceptorial master's line, the Guru Parampara. And this mundane body means our mundane emotions, our mundane way of thinking, and the gross extension of that mind, which is the mundane form. That is a projection of the mind, and further the senses, and further still the sense object. Those things are in the plane of misconception, cannot touch the divine pastimes of Krishna. We cannot perform that, but we are trying to proceed through the instructions of Gurudev in the mood of surrender. And that will please them. We're trying to do that for the sake of that service that we want to eventually contribute. It is for Krishna. It is all for Krishna. And those who are the servants of Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Kāraṇa Kāraṇam. The Supreme Lord, the embodiment of truth, consciousness, and joy, is Govinda, Krishna. He is beginningless, the origin of all that be, and the cause of all causes. That is his position. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Binatvam Nama Namino. The holy name and Krishna are non-different. Both are transcendental. Therefore, through our mundane knowledge and mundane activity, we cannot touch that ecstasy. In the Upanishads it is said, Nayamatma pravachenena labhyo. Sorry, I've got to put my glasses. Nayamatma pravachenena labhyo namedaya na bahuna shutena yang evaisa vrinute tena labhyas tasyaisya atma vivrinute tanun svam. The Supreme Lord is not attained by preaching, by vast intelligence, nor by knowing very expertly the Vedas. He is attained only by one who he himself chooses. To such a person he manifests his own form. Sorry, a little internet problem. The superposition comes by the mercy of the associates of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. If we have super hankering, then it will come to us. Who has some special quality of hankering for Madhura Ras, he will get it. It is true, only hankering after that Leela can give us a little chance. So Guru Maharaj is going this side and then this side, and this side and then this side, because hankering has to be a very pure thing. Many are hankering, but we're on the path of purifying that desire. So we don't want to hanker in a way which is mundane. So we are praying for Laulyam. We're praying that hankering will be pure. Otherwise, Guru Maharaj said, do not try to extend yourself to that upper plane. You will make offense. That upper plane may come down, but we are engaged in our Maṭh Harijana Kirtana Range. We're engaged in our duty. When from the upper level causeless mercy comes and touches a fallen soul, then he can understand something is very exalted and auspicious. An example is that if an ant is running past me and I touch it, then the ant can understand that it is being touched. All is under my control, not his. When I lift my finger, he then thinks, oh, whatever came and touched me has now gone away. In this situation, he has no possibility to exert his personality. He has no free will to control the situation. Is that a clear analogy?
He has no free will to control his situation.
The ant.
The ant.
Yeah. And in the same way, we cannot force the upper world, force ourselves into the upper plane, or by any action, particular action, the upper plane will be obliged to come to us. So we are following that line of performing our duties as we can and practicing pure, the anartha nivriti stage in the mood of surrender. And also worshiping that high plane, really worshiping, heart and soul, as far as we are able to, in our heart, appreciate the beauty and the purity and the wonder and the devotion and the sacrifice of the plane of Vṛndāvan. As much as we've been given that, we are also not trying to get more of that information than what is being given to us by our Gurudev. And Gurudev said, be careful about that. What has been published from our Maṭh has been thoroughly examined, and it is perfect. You can read that without fear. without apprehension that maybe this is being presented in a wrong way. We don't have to worry about that. Or am I qualified? Can I read this? Am I allowed to read this? That Gurudev said this many times. Stick to our own zone. What has been given by our Guru, it will be perfect for us. But if we go wandering around, reading what has not been given by them, we may enter into a position of some wrong way. And that wrong way can eventually become a very wrong way if we're not careful. Oh, whatever came and touched me has now gone away. And even, we hear about these things. I saw Krishna, now I don't see Krishna. So these things that's a great high example. But just like the ant, he cannot control this touching business. So we cannot, by any means, control what will descend. No means. We have no means to do that. Nor do we want that to be the case. Krishna is like that. When that transcendental knowledge himself comes down and touches us, at that time we can understand it. Otherwise, there is no possibility for us to understand. It is not mechanical. It's not a mathematical equation that I got 2 + 2, now I'm going to get 4. It's not like that. How boring is that? We're not, that is nothing. One possibility is there, yam evaisha vrinuti teni labhyas. If we take shelter with our full unalloyed devotion to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, then Krishna must be merciful to us, and that gives us some hope. Hope means that can happen one day. That unalloyed devotion can be there through our extreme hankering and surrender. It is up to the sweet will of Krishna, but in this way we can gain some position and enter into the transcendental world. Why are we doing other types of activities, such as worshipping, etc.? It is our practice for devoting everything, including ourselves, unto the lotus feet of Krishna. In this way, we are trying to practice. So, Gurudev is saying, by no means, by no activity, is, that's going to result in the descent of mercy to us. No. So he's saying, so why are we doing that? It is some practice. It is some practice, and we are trying to do that properly. But at the same time, we know that this is not going to force the absolute to descend. That is not with that idea. But our Gurudev has said, you give some bhog, you give some flower, you give some deep, some fire. You do these things. This is good. But also practice this, practice this, practice this, do that. Many things we have to take holistically. And realize that I want nothing else to do in my life, but the result of that I have no control over whatsoever. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Aham tvang sarva papebhyo mukshayishyami ma shucha. Totally rejecting all kinds of religion. Take shelter of me exclusively. I will liberate you from all kinds of sins. Do not despair. Yat karoshi yadasnasi yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya tat karushva mad arpanam. O Arjun, son of Kunti, whichever action you perform, whether general or scriptural, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give in charity, and whichever austerity you perform or vow you keep, all that you perform should be as an offering to me. There are many shlokas like this. Another one is Daivihesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duracaya Mameva Jay Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. This otherworldly, supernatural, external potency of mind, composed of the three modes of nature, most certainly is difficult to cross. However, those who take shelter exclusively in me alone and who completely surrender unto me, they certainly are able to surpass this almost insurmountable illusion. Krishna wants full surrender under his lotus feet. And if we do this, he will take our full responsibility. And when he takes us, our bodies will become transcendental. So when Srila Guru Maharaj is saying, we have this mundane body so we don't contemplate so much the high thing, it's meaning our body, he's of course including his divine self in all humility, but he's talking about our position as being covered by the layers of illusion. That is what the mundane body means. Mundane miscalculation and misidentification. So we are not to reach up to that plane as long as we have this mundane covering. But we are concentrating on surrender. When the conditioned soul takes shelter unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, Krishna takes him and provides for him whatever he may lack. He gives to him whatever is necessary, making him complete in that transcendental position. The main thing is devotion. A fully surrendered soul has no responsibility for himself. Manasa deho geho yo kichumor, arpilun tua pade nanda kishore, sampade vipade jivane marane, dai mama gela tua o pada barane. And this is the symptom of a fully surrendered soul. So we can check ourselves. Am I a fully surrendered soul? Absolutely. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I've got a lot of, what do they say? A lot of ground to cover. Anything can happen, but we are not giving up our day job, waiting for some miracle. It's all a miracle, but at the same time, we are expected to expend our energy in practicing surrender. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, whatever I have, everything I am offering unto the lotus feet of Krishna, I do not know what I have. But whatever it may be, please take that for your service. From this day on, I have no responsibility for myself. You may maintain this body or not. This is your matter, not mine. I shall only try to serve your holy lotus feet. When the conditioned soul takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna takes that conditioned soul as his own property. Why not before that? Because we have free will. So we are in a little battle with our will, with our previous decisions. And when all of those are relinquished by us, then full surrender can come. And then Krishna's, all right, I've got you. Ma shucha. Raksha karabituhu nischaya jani. Pana karabuham jamuna pani. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said in Śaraṇāgati, you must save us. It is your duty, I know. So what fear can I have? I can jump into the polluted waters of the Kaliya lake without fear. I can do anything. Here we can see the main thing, faith in Krishna. The faithful world, that is the real transcendental world. In that world, faith is the very ground, the very foundation. And when I first joined, which is, I'm still in the process of, trying to become really faithful. But I remember that hearing, in this way his faith was increased about a real devotee. And I thought, what? He doesn't have faith? I mean, I have faith. I don't have any doubt about this. I was thinking this when I was younger. I was thinking, but I don't have any doubt. I'm sure about this. But then we start the battle and we realize we've got millions of doubts. One after another, those are being revealed by the Lord so that we can deal with them for His sake, for the sake of devotion. But so when this real self-surrender is there, that is something we're worshiping. Here we can see the main thing, faith in Krishna, the faithful world. That is the real transcendental world. In that world, faith is the very ground, the very foundation. When we live there with our full faith, we will attain the highest result of highest benefit in life. One example you may have heard. If a police officer chases some thieves and mistakenly kills someone, all liability for his actions, even his mistakes, goes to the government and not to the police officer. Because he's fully surrendered to the government, even some accident happens, the government takes full responsibility. That's the nature of surrender. Full surrender. His responsibility is only toward capturing the thieves. That is his duty. This is the main point. After self-surrender, the result of what we do goes to Krishna and does not come to us. But that surrender must be perfect. This is the first quality of the conditioned soul. After that, everything depends upon Krishna. So he's saying the conditioned soul who is trying to come out of illusion, the first condition is full self-surrender. That is, Gurudev says in another place, that is the firm platform from which the rocket can push. There must be full self-surrender. After that, everything depends on Krishna. And only He knows in which way He will take the charge of the conditioned soul. We don't know. We don't know what Krishna is going to do. So whatever that is, whatever His decision is in my life, we try to be in the mood of harmony and not opposition. Opposition to the Siddhanta. Apasiddhanta we must oppose, but at the same time, with as little invitation to bring a reaction as possible. And this is something I'm really thinking about right now in my own self. Without compromising, we are trying to act in a way which will, and I heard this just yesterday, which will not bring a reaction from the environment. So this is a really interesting point in our practicing of surrender. This is the first quality of, this is the first quality of the conditioned soul who wants to make progress. After that, everything depends on Krishna, and only He knows in which way He will take charge of the conditioned soul. We do not know which way that's going to happen. It's an individual matter. So all these things have to be harmonized. Seeming not so easy to harmonize, but it is all fact. Through the pastimes of Krishna and his devotees, you can understand what is the will of Krishna and what is not. If you try to gain that knowledge and maintain your devotion within that environment, you will have no fear from anywhere. That is one of the big symptoms of the surrendered soul, or those who are making progress in surrender, is that their fear is being mitigated. They're seeing the Lord's hand everywhere and they have no difficulty. He's dealing with me as He likes. So where is the problem? This advice comes within the category of our primary and secondary education. But the superposition comes by the mercy of the associates of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. If we have super hankering, then that will come to us. Who has some special quality of hankering for Madhura Rasa, he will get it. Only hankering after that lila will give us a little chance. So, and that is not a cheap thing. That hankering for Madhura Rasa is not like hankering for some kind of external imitation thing. I mean, you can say the sahajas are really hankering. I don't want to bring that in here. I'm sorry. Excuse me if that is an offense. But what I'm saying is that hankering has to be of a very high quality. So we're not expecting to even understand what it is to hanker for Madhura. At least I can say in my case, certainly not. We must follow the service mood of Lalita Devi. In the pastimes of Śrīla Das Goswami, we can see Asabare Ramata Sindhu Maye Katanchit Kalomaya Tigami Takila Sampratam Hi Tvam Chet Kritam Mai Vidasyasi Naiva Kimme Praner Braje Macha Baroru Bikari Napi. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami passed his life some 80 years in Vṛndāvan Dhām with this special type of hankering. He showed by his position and through his leela how this mood of hankering can come to the jiva soul and in what way it can come. Sriman Mahaprabhu showed all kinds of bhavas, including Mahabhav, in this mundane world. He tasted it. Krishna himself tasted it, and the auspicious souls can see it as well as his paraphernalia and his associates. For the auspicious soul, everything shows in him in which way he will proceed to his destination. Das Goswami said, I am only waiting for your mercy. O Radharani, if you do not give that, I think my life is spoiled in Vṛndāvan Dhām. Even I do not want the mercy of Krishna. What shall I do with Krishna if your mercy is not present here? You are the supreme servitor of Krishna, and only under your guidance do I want that service. Without your connection, I will not get it. I know that, and it is 100% sure. So again, from time to time, we're remembering Madhavista Rupa Radha Hridaya Mandire. And we are worshipping that song, and worshipping that song in the form of worshipping of Mahaprabhu, who is Radha and Krishna combined. Guru Maharaj is saying, Krishna is saying to Radharani, what is it that you have found in me? You found something so wonderful in me? Was it in my storehouse? I don't know. I didn't know that. Only you can see that quality. And I'm so astonished that you found this in me that I didn't know was that. And so in this way, one of the three ways that Krishna is taking the mood of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, heart and halo, and coming in this magnanimous Audarya Leela. So we are worshipping Radha and Krishna, but always first Mahaprabhu. By Mahaprabhu's, by this Radha and Krishna in this form, we are, there's some possibility that that service in Vṛndāvan will take place, and we are thinking that that's possible. But meanwhile, we want to attend to our own job, our own business, with worshipping those high things. Mattala harijana kirtana range, pujala ragapata gaurava bange. So we're engaged in our kirtan with the devotees and doing our seva and worshipping that high thing. And this is to be understood. And, we're warned that if we think we have that, it is sure we don't have it. It's not that kind of thing. It's not the having kind of thing. It's not that nature. It doesn't. That is not the nature of that thing. So we're anyway proceeding in these ways, and I really this article by Srila Gurudev, this talk, he's going back and forth and back and forth. This is the supreme. But here we are. We're taking care of this. But this is the goal. But here we are. We cannot do these things with our mundane coverings. But at the same time, we are hankering and we are bowing down and praying for that pure hankering and pure surrender. And so this is really, really beautiful. And I know that I tend to err on the cautionary side. I mean, basically, or maybe err or not err, I don't know. But one thing is that we are, mainly our concern is that the environment is friendly and divine, that the Lord is the supreme Lord, controller, supreme cause of all causes, that we are practicing surrender in the line of our Guru Varga, in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, who is fully the dearest, the most dear of Lalita Devi. And this is her day, and anything can happen, any miracle can happen. We know that. If they want our service, then they will get it. There's nothing, but meantime, anything can happen, but we are concerned with our present duty. And I so much appreciate it. Here's Ananya Sundari. She's such a good servitor. I really appreciate her. She's always she's working and coming here in the early morning and then coming again in the evening. And always she has such a nice mood, really, and I appreciate it. And I can name all the devotees here who are really just engaged in service and in a humble mood, not trying to make any disturbance, always trying to be in a harmonious mood, and I really, really appreciate that, and I'm also really inspired by that, trying to be a little bit like that myself if possible. But this may be a short journey or a long journey. Pretty much we can consider it a little bit long, at least in my case. Mountains, oceans have to be crossed. So many things have to be crossed to come to that plane of a blade of grass. So but what a nice life we have. That every day there's some progress, right? Every day we're learning something wonderful. We're hearing something wonderful. Some experience is coming, and if we can just try to surrender, some good knowledge, some wisdom, some new perspective is coming, and this way we're making our going on in a journey, but not alone, but with others, always with others. So, excuse my offenses. Today is Śrī Lalitā Devi's Divine Appearance Day, and we are in it for the long run and bowing down and hoping that any offenses we make will be eradicated and forgiven and eradicated. Main thing, that we won't do that again. Jai. Jai Śrī Lalitā Saptamī Mahamahotsav Ki Jai, and all the devotees and Ananya Sundari Damodar Prabhu cooking away. Indulekha came until almost midnight, right? Decorating the temple room. You can't believe how pretty. Is it seen?
She made all those lotuses. Last night.
She made all these lotuses, and look at the lights. Tulsi Devi's lights are now become clouds.
Yeah, she cut all that.
And all these lovely, stars and wonderful things coming.
All of this earlier in the day, all the flowers, all the other stuff was Anakshi and Haridev.
And Haridev and the balloon, and so many lovely, really, it's beautiful, beautiful decorating coming from the desire of the devotees. So, Hari Bol. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Rakak Śrī Dhārdep Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Hari Bol.
Whoa.
Are you
Whoa,
good?
whoa.
Are you okay, Prabhu? Sounded like a refrigerator fell over. Any comments or questions?
Comments?
Questions, concerns?
Vimat Prabhu says, wonderful seva. And Lavanya Devi says, Haribol Śrī Lalitā Saptamī.
Anyway, you all have great inspired hearts, so I'm hoping to get a few rays from those hearts. And I feel super unqualified to speak about any of these things. But at the same time, we will not lose sight of the fact that we are approaching the plane of divine mercy. And we can understand some things, especially through Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Parshad of Mahaprabhu, chiefly Swarup Damodar Goswami, who is Lalita Devi, coming in the pastimes of the Lord. And in one sense, and Gurudev says this in another talk, she knows more about the service of Krishna than Radharani. in one sense, because she's always chastising both of them. So she's actually the head of the orchestra. Of course, that's a very high thing, but we're saying she's always so dedicated to Radha and Krishna, she's ready to die 1,000,000 times to do any small service. But she has a very unique position, extremely unique, and she's the leader of all the Sakhīs. And all the Sakhīs are the leaders of their own groups of servitors. And so to say that I hanker to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant's servant, that is a very high hankering. We shouldn't think, well, yeah, but that for the time being, and then I'm going to be like really important later on. It's like, so they're all, but Lalita Devi is the leader of all of that service. But her very dear is Śrīla Rupa Goswami, whom Mahaprabhu made the leader of our sampradaya. And so we are worshippers of the followers. Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana Jahoite Bignanas. By worshipping the six Goswami, all that is wrong in the heart will be destroyed. And Tandira Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas Janame Janami Mor Eyabilas. What is my hankering? That life after life, that I will be allowed, and also to make myself not an offender, and be allowed to be the servant of the servants of the six Goswamis, life after life. This is our main hankering in life. That this will go on, that this is not going to stop, that I will always have the chance to serve those who purely serve the six Goswamis. So many things. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Śrīmatī Śrīlekha Didi Gopinath Madana Moha Parikar Shri Guru Gaur Chandra Ji Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ji Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pai Paramhansa Parivrajaka Ācārya Astatarza Shri Śrīman Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Mahārāj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pai Paramhansa Parivrajaka Ācārya Astatarza Shri Śrīman Śrīla Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Mahārāj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Maṭh Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Shamananda Srinivas Thakur Prabhu Ki Jai. Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Śrī Lalitā Saptamī Mahamahotsav Ki Jai, and all the devotees in the service of this wonderful festival and all their association Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Maṭh Ki Jai. Tadiya Sakar Maṭh Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai. Kol Kartal Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nittai Gaur Premanandi Haribo. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Jai Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Gurudev Jai. Haribo.
We're very fortunate to have the association of Bhima Krishna Prabhu, of Lavanya Didi, of Shanta Didi, of Śaraṇāgati Didi, of Vṛndāvan Prabhu, and Jairam Prabhu.
Oh, wonderful.
Dhānavad.
Haribo.